It's 13 minutes past 11, and a very good morning to you. Do you think, just how easy is it to talk about infertility? I mean, in my script, it's as if you're Asian, but I've done this story on the Asian Network and on Five Live, and it is not easy in any community that you're in to talk about infertility. It just isn't. It's a very difficult thing to do. In some ways, it may be more difficult in the Asian community because the minute you get married, it seems you're even at your wedding and people are kind of crowding around you, asking you when you're going to start a family. And it goes on and on and on. But then losing a baby, struggling to conceive, constantly being asked those questions. Well, Harmeet Kaur Bharya, author of Poetic Secrets, A British Brown Beauty's Perspective, is with me now to talk about these issues. Harmeet, good morning.
Good morning, Nihal. Lovely to be here.
It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Can we start, I think it's the best place to start, by you telling us a little bit about your own experiences and why you decided to write this book?
So the reason and the inspiration for my book is really, as you said, my personal life experiences, but also from the experiences of others. I'm a bit of an observer and I like to learn a lot from others. And writing has become therapy for me. It's a way that I can express my emotions and feelings with imagery to get a message across in different tones, in a different voice, because it is actually very difficult and challenging to have these types of conversations about infertility, mental health, all those kinds of things. And that is why I have explored those themes in my book.
How difficult was it to write it?
To be honest with you, last year, at the end of last year, when I had my second miscarriage, I didn't want to go down that route of getting depressed and anxious and dwelling on it, really. So I thought, what can I do to basically prevent that from happening? And I started writing my poetry again. So I've been writing from a very young age, from the age of sort of, I think I must have started really early at 14, and then at 16 I started to write a bit more. And I've been doing that for several years now. And then at the end of last year, I picked up that pen and, I thought I'm gonna actually write about my fertility journey. I'm going to write about how it feels. How do you make somebody else understand what it feels like to be told that, there's a heartbeat on that screen, and then 2 weeks later to be told that, unfortunately, the pregnancy hasn't survived. So it's a very difficult type of emotion to express, and poetically, I feel that it just comes out really well, and it's well received as well. So yeah, that's really a summary of it.
Your late father encouraged you, didn't he?
That's right. So one of the major inspirations comes from my father, Nirmal Singh Teti. He's not, unfortunately, with us today, but he passed on 14 years ago, and he found my poetry file before he passed on, and he said, "You really ought to get this published one day." And that kind of stuck with me. And look at it now. It's out.
What do you hope that this book, Poetic Secrets, A British Brown Beauty's Perspective, will achieve?
The goal of my book is that I want to educate people in a humble way, not with ego, but to really explain, what it is, how it feels, and to influence change, the taboo associated with talking about infertility, talking about mental health illnesses. If I can be that change, then maybe I can create change, and I want to inspire people to do the same. So what I'm saying here is that I want to lead by example. That's what I'm trying to do with this book, is really reach reach people within the community that are just not aware that these things exist. For example, in my situation, I've already got a 7-year-old daughter, and it is presumed that, it's easy to conceive another child. But that is not always the case. There is something called secondary infertility, and it does, it does exist. And unfortunately, it's something that I've had to deal with. But I'm in a very, very good place now. Yeah.
It's good to hear that you are in a good place. And also, as well, while you talk about the taboos, you yourself were in the lucky position that you did get a lot of support from your family, didn't you? Tell me what kind of support you received. What did you need?
Do you know, sometimes all you need is for not anybody to say anything to you, but just to listen to what you have to say. Talking is a therapy. For me, definitely is a therapy. And my family, everyone in my family have been so supportive, and they are so proud of my work, and they push me to achieve more. And they read my poetry, they ask me questions, and I'm very lucky that I'm part of a very open-minded family. And I think that they are setting a very good example for the rest of the community.
Indeed they are. Indeed they are. And what about, miscarriages? And talking about a miscarriage?
I don't know what, I understand some people think, it's a very, very sensitive topic. It's very sensitive. And I think sometimes our community can be very flippant, just to sort of say, oh, you know what, you could just get over it and try again, And it's not as easy as that. It is like, it is a loss, and you have to grieve, and you have to take as much time as you need to move on. So, certainly for me, I remember the first time that it happened to me, I didn't say anything to anybody for a year and a half.
A year and a half?
A year and a half. Obviously my family circle, but nobody else, because all I did was I kept that all to myself. And, I was the one that ended up basically with feeling so sort of self-conscious when I used to go out and things like that. And, I wasn't being open about it. And now I look back at that and think, why did I do that? All I did was sort of harm myself. I was my own enemy in a way. And since I've started talking about it, do you know, it's amazing how many other people are going through the same thing. It absolutely amazes me. Here I am sitting there thinking I'm the only person going through this. But no, there are a lot of people going through this. And, I'm...
Because everyone feels alone, right?
Yeah, everybody feels alone, and everybody's sitting there thinking, oh, it's just me. And, oh, we can't talk about this. What are they going to say? What are they going to think? And it doesn't matter what other people think. What matters is what you think and what you feel. That's your feelings at the end of the day. And if we can share them in a positive way, maybe we'll get compassion. And I have received nothing but compassion.
That's great to hear. That is great to hear. What about accessing services? When you felt that your mental health was suffering, how easy was it for you? And do you think that these services need to be tailored more towards people with ethnic minority backgrounds?
Yes, I do. I didn't take any medication for when I had my postnatal depression. It was a personal choice. I didn't want to take medication, but I did go to see my doctor, and they directed me to something called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And with that, I was able to learn, and I was taught coping mechanisms. Even with my anxiety, I use them today. And it is the most wonderful service that I've ever received, via the NHS. I can't talk about it enough, really, to be honest. And people don't know that these services exist. They will help you. And I thought I suffered in silence for quite some time, but when I went and got the help, I just felt lighter. I might have had a baby loss, But and I've not had a second child, but I've birthed a book out of that. Something really positive has come out of me doing my CBT, me reaching out for help. The second time I miscarried, I didn't go into depression. I was sad for a couple of weeks. I was really sad. Why didn't it work out? But I kind of put that energy into something else. And I hope that people can take something away from that.
Yeah, and they certainly will. They certainly will. What were the most difficult passages of the book to write?
I think I think the infertility side of the things was quite challenging, because it was getting the message across, but not because I never want to use my poetry as a weapon, where I want to say anything negative.
Yeah.
I want to put things in a way where people can appreciate. Oh, really? Is this how it is? Is this what she means? Is this what she went through? That kind of compassionate. It's not like I'm looking for pity either. It is just compassion and understanding. So fertility, it was because it's such a delicate, difficult, challenging subject to write about. And I think the mental health actually was really easy, really, really easy. I didn't even have to think. The words just come; they just flow out. They just write themselves. Even
it's really sad because just think about our parents' generation, like the women that had to go through that.
Yes.
They wouldn't have been able to talk about it at all, really, would they?
No, I think it really does. It really has been brushed under the carpet, and I do wonder is it that we're hearing more about it now because more people are talking about it, or is it that it is on the rise? I do wonder about that.
But more people are willing to talk about it now, even from within the Asian community, and that can only be a good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, it's great to speak to you today, Harmeet. Thank you for joining us on the BBC Asian Network.
Thank you so much for having me on and letting me have a voice on here.
The book is called Poetic Secrets, A British Brown Beauty's Perspective, and it is out now. It is by Harmeet Kaur Bharya. So if these are issues that you've dealt with, miscarriages, infertility, mental health issues, then it's worth, poetry is a powerful tool. Trust me, I've got more and more into poetry recently, and it is a powerful tool to get us. In many ways, you think and you look at poetry and you think to yourself, if that gets to the heart of the issue, and usually gets to the heart of the issue much quicker than prose. All right, let's play.